All right, we are back for this week's second episode of 8 Divisions in 8 Weeks on the Talking Sunday podcast, the 2020 NFL preview show. There's only 3 teams left to cover in the NFC, and we're staying right here in the NFC East and finishing this thing out. We're just pumping out all kinds of content here. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave that comment below. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Talking Sunday handle. And also, as a reminder, we will be taking a short break next week. There will not be any episodes, but we'll be back Monday, August 17th, full force for the AFC. Big Blue just keeps hitting that reset button over and over and over again. But hey, maybe the third time will be a charm. Can Joe Judge and this new coaching staff turn these Dwarves into the Giants they were meant to be? There's only one way to find out, and it starts now. Two weeks into the season, it was definitely evident that veteran quarterback Eli Manning has seen better days, and he was looking like a shot fighter. But rookie quarterback Daniel Jones finally got a chance to start his first game in Week 3 against Tampa and led an epic comeback after being down 28-10. Although he ranked out as only the 26th overall quarterback, just one spot above Mitchell Trubisky, he didn't look that bad. He threw 24 touchdowns to 12 interceptions and attacked pretty effectively down the field. Now, the offense was actually third worst when it came to turning the football over, and that was one of the knocks on Jones. Jones was super careless with the football and led the league with 10 fumbles. Overall, though, talent-wise, he showed that he belongs in the NFL, and the potential is certainly there. After a phenomenal rookie campaign, running back Saquon Barkley went down with a high ankle sprain, but somehow only missed 3 games. Clearly hampered by the injury all year, he only ranked out as the 22nd best running back. Incredibly, he was still able to crack over 1,400 all-purpose yards and 8 touchdowns. Barkley is clearly the cream of the crop when it comes to the running back position. The offensive line last year wasn't that great as it ranked out only 17th overall, but right guard Kevin Zeitler was the only consistent force on that line. Left tackle Nate Solder had his worst career as a pro, allowing 57 pressures, which was 7 more than any other player in the league. Rookie wide receiver Darius Slayton was the Giants' most productive receiver, going for over 700 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Although most productive, wide receiver Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard played in less games but graded out better. The defense ranked in the bottom 3, coming in at number 30 overall. They were just flat out awful anywhere you looked. They were 5th against the pass, 20th against the run, 22nd in sacks, and 29th in creating turnovers. The G-Men had a pretty lackluster free agency, but they made some serious changes all over the coaching staff. After only 2 seasons with the Giants, New York decided enough was enough and threw in the towel on head coach Pat Shurmur. But we were all really surprised and taken back when they decided to hire head coach Joe Judge from the New England Patriots. Judge is a bit of a mysterious man, but was considered a special teams whiz from the New England Patriots, who later went on to be the wide receivers coach. Although there's little that anyone really knows about him, he did state that he wants to build a team with players of high IQ. So who does Judge bring in to help him run things? Well, he started off by hiring ex-Cowboys coach Jason Garrett and ex-Cleveland Browns coach Freddie Kitchens to help call the offense. Garrett has been known for his questionable in-game decision-making on numerous accounts, costing him the difference between wins and losses. And Freddie Kitchen had a good reputation as a coordinator, but failed colossally as a head coach in Cleveland, with a roster bursting at the seams with talent, and has a lot of maturity concerns. Between Garrett's lack of decision-making and Kitchen's maturity, I'm not so sure that his team culture is off to the right start. Now, as far as the roster goes, the Giants cut ties with linebacker Alec Ogletree, who never lived up to his big money contract, and wide receiver Cody Lattimore. But perhaps the biggest signing for the Giants was the signing of cornerback James Bradberry. Bradberry was regarded as the top free agent corner along with Byron Jones. In New York, he links back up with GM Dave Gettleman, who drafted him in Carolina, and gives the Giants a new number 1 corner after Janoris Jenkins was traded to the Saints last season. The team also brought in linebacker Blake Martinez from the Packers to add more talent to one of the worst linebacking cores in the league. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are 2 essential pieces to New York's future, and both went down with high ankle sprains and missed multiple weeks last year. If they plan on keeping these guys around for a long time, they needed to start by reinforcing the offensive line, and that's exactly what they did with the number 4 overall pick when they selected offensive tackle Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. Thomas ranked out as college football's 3rd best tackle and should make an immediate impact in both the pass and run game. He'll replace Mike Remmers, who allowed an alarming 40 pressures last season. The Giants continued to have an exceptional draft in the 2nd round with the selection of safety Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. McKinney was projected to be a 1st rounder and was college football's 12th best safety. He should also make an immediate impact in a secondary that needs all the help they can get. With his versatility, he should be able to line up anywhere the Giants ask and has great ball and coverage skills and actually comped out to safety Malcolm Jenkins. And last, the Giants continued to build along that offensive line with the selection of tackle Matt Peart out of UConn. Peart received a high grade his senior year and has everything you are looking for at the NFL level. With Nate Solder decline and now opting out, look for Thomas and Peart to anchor the line for years to come. The Giants enter the 2020 season with a relatively hard schedule. We'll get to see the G-Men kick off Monday Night Football Week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of their 3 primetime games this season. They'll also have to play their division rival Washington and Philadelphia, coming off back-to-back bye weeks in Weeks 7 and 8. This will be a big season for Daniel Jones. Fans will want to see him take that next step and prove that he can be the franchise quarterback he was drafted to be. A lot of times when we see those rookie quarterbacks have a poor season, that 2nd year they'll usually break out. Look no further than division rival Carson Wentz. Jones will need to show more consistency in his 2nd year if he wants to prove he's the franchise quarterback Gettleman drafted him to be. When you look at Jones' touchdown to interception ratio, you think, well, that wasn't so bad. But the problem is Jones only seemed to accelerate during far less superior teams. When Jones faced off against teams that finished with a 500 record or below, he threw 20 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. But when faced with real tasks against teams that finished above 500, he doubled his interception rate by throwing only 4 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. With Eli Manning now completely out of the picture, this right now is Jones' time to shine and take that next step. The team took steps to beef up that offensive line, which should alleviate the pressure off Daniel Jones, and more importantly, should open up those running lanes so Saquon Barkley can terrorize the league. Look, I know Christian McCaffrey tore up the league last year and everybody thinks he's God's gift to earth, but when Saquon Barkley is healthy, it does not get any better than that. Have you seen this man's thighs? My biggest concern for the Giants is still that defense, more specifically the lack of the pass rush. And without a viable pass rush, that defense is going to continue to get cooked on the back end. Although the NFC East is probably still the NFC least, with the brand new coaching staff and the team still in a rebuilding phase, I just don't see the G-Men as a viable threat yet. For those reasons alone, I have the New York Football Giants finishing 3rd in the NFC East division, but with a respectable 7-9. And although they won't make the playoffs, I think they'll take major strides forward. I think Big Blue will eventually get there and we'll see significant growth from Jones this year, but I just think it's going to take a little more time before we're talking playoffs. Go Giants.